My manipulative best friend keeps on mentioning my ex in front of my fiancé. I stopped taking her calls and ghosted her. I want to know if I am overreacting, or if Jess is in the wrong. For context, Jess and I went to the same elevated school and the same college. We were friends in elevated school. However, since we both went to the same out-of-state college, we became best friends since then. We have always been there for each other during the best and worst times. However, things have always been platonic, and she is more like a big sister to me who made sure I stay on the right track. I have only been in 2 long-term relationships so far. One was with my ex Lisa for 7 years. We met in college and dated all through our college years. Lisa and Jess also became good friends. After college, Lisa and I just grew apart and had different goals in life. I became boring after college as I was working on my PhD while doing a full-time job. Lisa broke up with me as she wanted to party on weekends while I was home studying. I was heartbroken, but I don't think I ever blamed her or had resentment towards her, as I understood my decisions were selfish and should not hold her back from having the best life. Jess always stood by me and comforted me during that time. Jess and Lisa were good friends, and Jess always kept on telling me that Lisa loved me and would be back one day when I was ready. I foolishly held on to that hope and stayed friends with Lisa. That was until I met my fiancé Yang. After I finished my PhD, I got a nice job in a big tech company. Yang joined our team a year after me. We started going out and dating seriously pretty soon. We are happy together and financially in a great place. I stopped talking to Lisa after I started dating Yang. I proposed to Yang a year after we started dating and got engaged last year, but Jess has been acting weirdly since we got engaged. One of the first things she said to Yang after we got engaged was how I had planned the same thing for Lisa, proposing on a local hiking trail. It was off-putting that she was bringing up Lisa, whom I broke up with almost 5 years ago on such a happy occasion. Yang asked me not to spoil my mood, as she felt Jess was just commenting on how I had that plan in mind for years. Since then, every time we meet, Jess brings up Lisa, and how the things I am doing are all the things I had planned with Lisa. This happened when we bought a house and planned for vacations. Jess always starts with some nostalgic story and then brings up how Lisa and I were so happy together. She is still good friends with Lisa and keeps giving me updates about Lisa when no one is asking for it. It felt like she was painting a rosy picture of Lisa to Yang, and telling Yang that she would always be second to Lisa. Yang told me Jess's comments bothered her, and I felt the same. I have brought this up with Jess many times and asked her not to do it. However, she says since I dated Lisa for 7 years, she would be part of many stories from the past. She asked me why talking about Lisa bothers me, and if I still have feelings for her. I reduced hanging out with Jess. However, she is close with my mom and is always invited to all our family parties. I talked to my mom and sister about this, and they feel I am overreacting. They feel Jess is just telling stories, and since the stories are mostly from college days, Lisa will be a character in them. Last month, I decided to talk to Jess and gave her an ultimatum not to speak about Lisa again. Jess defended herself, saying it's hard to tell any stories from the past without including Lisa. She blamed me for being emotionally childish and forgetting about Lisa after 7 years. Finally, Jess agreed not to bring up Lisa in front of Yang. I informed Yang about our conversation. She was appreciative but said she didn't need me to do it as she knows how much I love her. 2 weeks ago, Yang went to visit China for a month as we planned to get married in her hometown. Jess invited me to her house that Friday for dinner as I was home alone. Around 7:30 p.m., the doorbell rang, and Jess excitedly opened the door. To my surprise, it was Lisa, all dressed up as if for a date. I hadn't seen her in person for almost 3 years and was shocked. She sat down and started making small talk. I was extremely uncomfortable and went into the kitchen to talk to Jess. I was angry and asked her what was going on. She kept telling me to get over it and be nice to Lisa. She said Lisa was excited to meet me and she thought we were all adults and could have one fun evening together. We fought and I told her I don't want to be friends with her anymore. I politely excused myself, claiming a work emergency. I called Yang, who was furious and said she's not comfortable with Jess anymore as she has some agenda. I called Jess the next day and told her she crossed a line. I stopped taking her calls and told my mom and sister about the incident. Last Sunday, my mom called me for lunch. When I got there, Jess was already there. My mom asked me to sit as they wanted to talk. She started with how Jess has been there for me and only has my best interest at heart. Jess said I was making a big mistake in not hearing what Lisa had to say. Before I left, I am so depressed right now. I not only lost my best friend, but also am not sure how I can move on from what my mom said. My mom and sister raised me, and that is the reason where I am today. However, I cannot get over how prejudiced they are, and how they were just pretending to like Yang all these years, while actively working on breaking us up. I have been so shocked that I have not told any of this to Yang so far. I might wait for her to come back next week and talk to her in person.